Welcome, you guys, to another episode of TJU On Air. And this episode is being recorded in Florida at Palm Beach Recovery Centers. We have a very special guest, as special as it can get, because very recently we met this man on the streets of Las Vegas, deep in his addiction. And he wanted to recover. He wanted to get back on his feet, and he took the chance that Victor offered to come here to this recovery home. And today is his graduation day. And right now, we're going to get to hear his entire story. Taye, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome, buddy.
Yeah.
How do you feel today?
I'm glad to be here. I'm alive,
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends die in fentanyl, and I was really depressed for a long time that I was destined to be the same. And I'm now, free and clear of it. And that's an amazing feeling.
Where did it start for you with your addiction?
My addiction period started when I was like 11. I started doing drugs real young.
Really?
Yeah. By 13, I was doing psychedelics and cocaine. And by 15, I was a full-blown junkie. I actually got clean for 10 years from 21 to 31. When I met my stepson, I got clean immediately. I got, him for a little while, then had kids of my own and raised them until I went through my divorce. And then I went right back to it. It took me a total of 9 years to find y'all and get back in recovery.
Wow. When did fentanyl become an aspect of your addiction?
Honestly, I started doing blues first. I was smoking crack. I was smoking crack the whole time I was in Dallas. I went to Vegas about 2.5, 3 years ago, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And I was smoking crack. But girls would pull you up under the blanket to smoke blues with them, and I hadn't been close to girls for so long. That was enough for me. So, I started smoking blues. And then I got stomped to death in a gravel parking lot and had some brain damage. And while I was healing from that, I just kind of came to complacency had let me do fentanyl enough days in a row that I was chemically dependent on it. And I just knew I wasn't in a good enough place to go through the DTs, and actually come free of it. I've actually fought opiate addiction before when I was 18. OC80s back then were rampant. And first time I got dope sick on those, I fixed it, like immediately.
Yeah.
But I knew I was in a good place then. I know how hard it is to kick opiate addiction. So I knew in Vegas I had nothing good enough going for me to actually pull it off there. I was trying to get to California so I could kick it on the beach there. But I had several times heard people talking about going to Florida and tried like hell to get in their car and just didn't work out. So when I heard y'all mention Florida, I was like, I want to get to a beach. I want to get to a beach because I know that's enough positivity for me, to kick the stuff.
That day when you saw us out there, we were talking to somebody else, Jacob, about him going into recovery. And to be fair, I think we all knew that there was some hesitation.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't look 100% ready.
He had talked to me before that and told me that he had tried it before. And I think 6 months in or 90 days, something like that, he said it still felt like day one to him. And he had no hope of, that's why in the video, I don't know if you caught it, but he said, I think I'll just die right here. That's been his attitude the whole time I've been around him. I really hope he sees this, and like gets some hope from it, because there are people that, have different experiences and different times. I've gone through it and had no hope, and been miserable. But this time I actually went through it, and I actually haven't even had any like real symptoms of like dope sickness. It's been amazing.
That's incredible. What did you think when you saw us? I mean, we saw you standing back there, just patiently waiting to take the opportunity, but like you were anxious as well. Like you wanted it bad before you even had a word come out your mouth. I saw it. Going back editing the videos, I saw it.
I will be honest. I have seen the worst of the world, and people prey on homeless people. And there was a good part of me that kept telling myself inside, like, they're going to put you in a bathtub full of ice and harvest your organs on the black market. I had told myself I was going to run when I got to Miami, but I had promised this man that I would go through with it when I got off the plane. And I thought about that because I actually did walk outside when I got to the airport. And I remember I don't break promises, even in my addiction. That's something I've always been big on. And I found a bathroom outside with an outlet because my phone was dead. And I plugged it in and got in touch with Jeremiah's son. I can't remember his name right this second, but the kid that came to pick me up at the airport was sitting there blowing my phone up as soon as I turned it on. I told him where I was at and got in the truck with him. As soon as I got in the truck, I'm telling myself in my head, "You're an idiot. You're sitting there being loyal to these people you just met, and you're going to end up in a bathtub full of ice." Like, but it was a 50-50, and either way, I thought it was better than where I came from.
Yeah. Why do you think more people out there don't take opportunities like this?
Mostly because I don't know if y'all know the statistic, but I think it's like 2 out of 100 will actually get out of opiate addiction, and the other
Very low.
98 will die in their addiction where they're at today. And that's a sad truth, but that makes a lot of people hopeless. I happen to know I can do it because I've done it before. So that gave me some, I even like weaned myself down. I was doing like half a gram of fentanyl a day. And when I decided to go to California to kick it, I weaned myself down to barely a point a day. I stayed half dope sick for 3 months, just trying to find a way to kick this shit because really didn't want to die like that.
Sometimes you just need that extra help, someone to just give you a little more guidance. And
I'll be honest, I didn't know who either of y'all were. Like, I never heard of y'all, never heard of nothing about it.
yeah,
I saw y'all giving out tents and sleeping bags, and I needed a sleeping bag. That's why I walked up. And then I heard Florida, and, it's my favorite place in the world. I wanted out of there.
It's cool to hear that, because sometimes I think, like, even if I give out tents and sleeping bags, I know that sometimes those things aren't used for what I give them out for.
Yeah.
To that person. It might get traded.
Yeah.
Something might happen. I do think it eventually always gets to a home where it's needed.
Yeah.
But it's also that first bargaining chip to maybe see what else we can do and
Open up a line of conversation.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Just to make conversation and see where we can take it from there.
I've got a TV in my room at this place because it's the bougiest place I've ever been in my life. And I've been watching y'all's stuff, you know what I'm saying, on YouTube.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
And man, it's amazing what y'all do. It really
Thank
is.
you.
Because let me tell you, I've been out there across the whole country on the streets, and people treat us like bottom of the barrel, on a regular. I've seen the worst of people. It is very rare that anybody comes up and does what y'all do without some ulterior motive.
That's right.
I got picked up by a van in Dallas, and they put people to work. They have you go wear matching T-shirts, and they fly signs with lies on them, and they collect a bunch of money. They give you one Gatorade through an 8-hour day in the summer in Texas. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And they feed you bare minimum. And then when I asked to leave after a week, they took all the money I had on me. They said that was to pay for my meals while I was there. They just told it's
That's
a
not
racket.
right.
They take advantage. So seeing people like y'all that actually are what you say, it's a blessing. I feel like I won the lottery. People in my situation don't get what I just experienced. The 28 days there was like going to sleep in hell and waking up in heaven, and I mean that genuinely.
What would you have to say to anyone we might meet in the future that has doubts about taking this opportunity?
I would say if you got any desire to actually get out of it, if you don't waste your time. Don't waste their time. You know what I'm saying? But if you do have any desire to get out of where you're at, just take a leap of faith. Because man, I'll tell you, I've gotten back in touch with my kids that I haven't talked to in 6 years. Talked to my mother. There was a lot of trauma there. We're both on good terms now. Never thought that would happen. Talked to my baby mama. My blessings are so much that I couldn't fit them on pen and paper.
Yeah.
And that's in 28 days. In 28 days,
Just
Incredible.
under a month.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you got any hesitation, man, I'm telling you, it's worth a shot. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody will do it the first time, but if you get out there and you try it and it doesn't work, go back.
Try again.
They accept that shit. That place is great. They have people in there for their 4th and 5th times that are actually doing it this time. You know what I'm saying? It's different for everybody. The experience
That's right.
is different for everybody, but it's definitely worth a shot, because I'll tell you, if you don't take the chance, you might die tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You might die 5 years from now, but you're not going to be happy. I know I was. Past 5 years, I can remember one day that at the end of the day, I thought it was an okay day. The whole rest of the other 5 years, every day was miserable.
That's a long time too. 5
I
years.
hadn't taken a shower in 2 years till y'all took me to that truck stop.
Are you serious?
I'm not
2
lying.
2
years?
Wow.
So I like to ask people this, and it's funny because one side of it, there's usually not the best answer, but what was your worst and best day homeless like?
My best day I will keep to myself.
Okay.
My worst day though, I literally got stomped to death in a gravel parking lot.
How did that happen?
I was camping with somebody. I had left for a couple of days and I came back, and he, of course, had ripped some people off and had lied to them and told them it was me because I wasn't present. So when I came back, they just all jumped on me and stomped me to death in a gravel parking lot. They had put me under a black plastic tarp and had actually kidnapped the only witness and had her in a tent. When I just magically woke up under the plastic and heard them talking about putting me on the train tracks to get rid of the evidence, and I ran off. I made it to a taco stand and collapsed in a crowd of people that called an ambulance, luckily.
No, you're
But
lucky.
that's what the scars from. I mean, they stomped my teeth out of my face, like mangled me real bad. And it took me a
Wow.
good bit to recover from it.
Are you missing any teeth from that?
No, I still have all my teeth. That's the only positive thing I can say about my teeth. I probably need to see a dentist sometime, but I still
yeah,
have
Sure,
even
we
my
can
wisdom
work
teeth.
that out.
Yeah. It's funny because you asked, you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
have a friend, a dentist that might be able to help him out. And,
Yeah.
and he had me go back and look at the
Yes.
videos. And I'm like, I think he has all his teeth.
I
dude.
do
Yeah, I
have all
remember.
of them, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've even got my wisdom teeth. They grew in like front facing, impacted completely.
Yeah.
They told me they wanted to charge me $4,000 to break my jaw in 4 places and wire my mouth shut. I was like, I'm not paying y'all for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I can go pay a crackhead $20
Yeah.
to hit me with a baseball bat. We'll do the same thing, But luckily, after like 5 years, they did straighten out, and I can now fit floss in between my teeth, so I still have even my wisdom teeth.
Oh, that's good.
That's
Yeah.
good. Well, I mean, I have a question as well that like I've never asked, but I myself never have done fentanyl. It wasn't around back when I was doing all my dumb stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I think it goes the same for Vic, and
Yeah.
I think I don't know if I would be here today if it was, honestly. But I mean, what is with everybody leaning over, almost touching the ground? The Fetty lean. What is
It's
it,
a heroin
and how does
too,
it
though.
happen?
It is exactly that. You smoke until you nod out. That is the point of it, is you don't want to be present, And actually the truth of it is nowadays they're putting it low dose in everything. It's in cocaine, it's in crack, it's in
Oh, yeah.
Xanaxes, it's in meth, And the point of that is after somebody realizes, because it took crackheads a good while to realize they were sleeping every night all of a sudden,
Yeah.
And by that time, you're already chemically dependent on it. And people, once they get chemically dependent on it, the detox is so terrible that most people will just start smoking it rather than getting off of it.
Oh,
It's a
That
money
makes-
maker too.
it
People are
is.
making more money, drug dealers.
I mean, you think about who makes fentanyl. It's not
The government.
it's not made in bathtubs, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
People make money off that. I'm waiting for it to be in liquor, and mark my words, it will eventually,
It'll
It's
be in
terrible.
everything you
It's
think.
terrible. They didn't want to be Hitler and do like genocide. They needed to control the population, so they figured we'll do it ourselves. We all know better, but once we get on it, we won't do better.
Were you ever one of those guys leaning down, almost touching the ground?
No, I always sat down to nod out.
I
That's
always
just-
wonder why don't people just sit down? Why are they stuck standing?
A lot of people overdo it. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't afford to because I never made good money. So
What does
Yeah.
it cost to get your fix with that?
it's $10 a point. I mean, on average.
Okay.
And that's a point is usually not enough for most people. Like I said, I stayed half dope sick all the time when I was just doing a point a day. But I struggled to make $5 for a pack of cigarettes. People aren't real nice, and I'm white, I'm male, I'm young, and not visually crippled. So flying a sign was the worst possible means of making money I could have come up with. But I just didn't have any gumption to start stealing stuff.
You could have just wrote that all these fake things on your sign and maybe gotten
Yeah, that's what a
more
lot of
stuff.
people do, but
Yeah.
I just
I feel
don't
like
have
you have
that
a
in
heart.
me. I don't have that in me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when I was on the streets, I would go through it just to make sure somebody else was okay, because I realized that most people don't experience that anymore. I am a genuine person, Empathy is my strongest sense. So, like, even at my lowest, I can't help but that's still coming through,
What was one of the worst things you ever had to eat to survive?
I've eaten out of dumpsters plenty. I mean, I'll just say that,
What's the longest you've gone without eating?
I couldn't tell you, but long enough for it to hurt.
Really?
Yeah.
And then if you had to eat because you were really hungry or get dope, which would you choose?
Out there on fentanyl, dope, because you can eat.
Yeah.
I mean, it stops you from being able to.
Yeah.
It's terrible. But that's why I found where the dumpsters were, that they threw out donuts and shit and pizzas, you know what I'm saying? Like, Little Caesars is good about filling up a dumpster full of pies, and the same dumpster just happens to be where the donut shop is, so
There's always
So you
something
get
there.
both.
Wow. What's before you were ever homeless or ever on the streets, did you look at people differently than you would now?
I was actually the one I would pick up homeless people and ride them around and buy them stuff at the gas station and just pick their brain, see if they needed anything. A lot like yourself, not
Yeah.
quite as into it as you. You know what I'm saying? But
Something though.
I've never not been able to see the good in people. You know, that's just anybody. You know,
Yeah.
I've always had a knack for that. You know, that's I think one of my stronger attributes is I got humbled all the way at a young age, and I can't hold anything against anybody after the things I've done in life. So I always try to rationalize and relate to people. And when you do that, you can't help but hurt for somebody in that situation. Anytime I've ever had somebody actually come up to me and ask me for help, if it was in my power, I was going to try, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why when I was out there flying my sign, I would see 10,000 people sometimes pass by me and not a single person stop and help me. And I just confused by that, you know, because I don't have that capacity. There's no way.
Even like a simple hi, like how
Yeah,
are
and
you
I used
doing
to tell
today?
people, you know, like if you just stopped and said, "Hey, I don't have no money. I'm sorry, but are you okay?" Like that would make my day. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But like you have no idea how cold the world is on a grand scale. Like it really is terrible.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't think everybody out there who hasn't seen that side of things, who might only their only experience is seeing someone hold a sign or
A lot,
falling out or whatever on the side of the road as
a,
they drive by.
a lot of people have it misconstrued, and they think that people flying their sign are lazy. Let me tell all y'all this right now. Ain't nobody that lazy. If you go out there and do it one time, the amount of emotions that go into that,
Oh yeah.
like it tears you down to have that many people just pass you by without a care in the world, or the people that actually stop and are jerks to you. Nobody's that lazy. Trust me, somebody would go to work before they do that. That
That's right.
in order for somebody to be there, they have to have been broken down. Like, I mean, seriously, everybody out there, most of them are great people that
They're
have so
just
much
stuck.
trauma that they just can't get past the trauma,
Yeah.
you know?
Is there, you knew a lot of people out there in the Las Vegas area that were going through the same things,
Yeah.
and we have intentions to go back out there and, see if anybody else is willing to take an opportunity like you did.
Yeah.
Is there anyone you have in mind that you think would possibly be ready or take it?
There is actually. I've been talking to people about it. There was a girl out there that the whole time I thought, like she don't deserve to be out there. She was always genuine like myself. She was kind to everybody. She hated the situation and had that look in her eye like she was just waiting on somebody to pluck her off the streets and save her, you know?
What do you think keeps her there?
The same thing. No opportunity, better than, continuing to just numb the pain.
She's not in a relationship that holds her in any
I
way?
don't believe so. I don't think so.
That's good.
Well, let's give her an opportunity.
Yeah. We don't have to
Yeah.
say her name here today, but you can
Yeah.
tell us later and we will go look.
I was going to say, I was talking to Dan and he said, I told him I wanted to wait a couple of years to have some sobriety under me before I go out. And he said, people like us can't do that. You need to go when you
That's
can
right.
go.
Whenever you feel the time has come.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind because I know how to find people out there. Whereas y'all,
Yeah.
As long as you feel that you're ready, then we'll do it.
As long as I got good people around me, I mean,
Oh,
I'm
yeah, we're gonna be
comfortable,
sticking
Yeah,
to like
we're
glue.
okay.
Yeah,
We're all right.
Y'all are okay.
Yeah,
That's good
we're
to
all
know.
right. We got your best interest at heart, bro.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're there for you.
Today, I'll be honest. I got nothing in front of me but hope and opportunity, and nothing behind me comfortable to hang on to. And I can't go back to fentanyl because that shit'll kill me.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it out of my system now. The only time I ever smoked it without a tolerance, they had to Narcan me 7 times. And I just learned in here that 7's the max they'll give you. Like if that 7th one hadn't worked, I
Wow.
would have died.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I'm lucky 100 times over. I should have died so many times. It's not funny.
Vic, what do you want to ask him?
I mean, he answered all the questions that I already know. Because I've helped a lot of homeless people get off the streets.
Yeah, no, I've been watching your show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of know what it's like out there. What you go through.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's people are just waiting for that opportunity. And, we're here to give it to them. Some people who know my videos, who know who I am, even I approach them and they're still not ready. So, and I totally understand, like, you have to be ready.
Yeah, they talk about in treatment the gift of desperation,
Yeah.
like that's a real thing,
That's right.
Unfortunately, my bottom was a lot lower than some people's,
Yeah.
but
Everyone's different, like you
but
said.
yeah.
Some people can be ready, like, right now. Like, as I'm making the video with them, talking to them, they're ready. But in 20 minutes, they're not ready. So
Yeah, that's the fickle part of addiction. You know what I'm saying? Is once you numb everything, you've numbed everything.
that's right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Even the ambition. You know,
Yep.
it's we torture ourselves. You know, I blamed the world so long. And while we're on the subject, I'd like to clear something up. I wasn't completely honest in my video. My wife wasn't trying to kill me. She was trying to survive me. You know what I'm saying? I was terrible. I was fighting addiction. I didn't realize that until I got clean and clear headed. But she was a great woman and I was terrible. And she was just trying to survive me.
Well,
But
that's what happens. You blame other people when you're in addiction.
but that's it. We do, and we're
You're never
blind to
wrong.
it. We're completely in denial. And I don't know if y'all know anything about it, but that's one of the hardest things to overcome because it really does like break your foundation of what you base reality off of when you're in denial. You know.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
coming out of it, I've realized I wasn't mad at the world. The only person I was mad at was myself. You know, and I had to forgive myself to move forward. You know, connection with a higher power
That's right.
actually demands like rigorous honesty. That's the whole program. You know.
Mhm.
So
Honesty is huge. Respect, loyalty, all that.
in that I was able to reconnect with my mother, you know, which there's a lot of trauma there, but like we're good today, you know. And through all of it though, I realized, you know, like in addiction you lie to yourself and you blame everybody else, you know,
Mhm.
and everything else, but it's really just that fog, you know. Like
That's
it's
right.
not anybody's fault. If you're out there and you're going through it, you know, it's not your fault. We're all human. We all make the same mistakes, you
That's
know.
right.
God said all sin is created equal, and that's the truth of it, you know. Even if you don't believe in God, you know, look at other people. If you
That's
took
right.
your worst day and you compared to somebody else, you can't judge people off their worst day, you know.
That's right.
So
We're all equal.
we're
You know,
definitely all
we
human.
all go through shit.
Even the greatest minds of all time struggled with it. You know, they all
That's
talk
right.
about it. And that's where you got to come to realization and
Yeah.
start being a better friend to yourself, you know. But it's hard to do in that fog because it really does.
Yeah.
Once you get out of it, you don't deal with all them feelings that you've repressed for so long, and that's uncomfortable, you know.
What was a day in the life like for you out there?
Out there, I would wake up sick, go fly a sign until I made $5 or $10, wait for somebody to walk by because pretty much slept on the same corner I flew my sign on, same corner I found my dope on. You know, like I didn't go outside of a 15-foot range most days.
So
And
pretty
I'd
much.
sit there on the side of the road and smoke and nod out, you know. And then when I'd wake up, I'd be sick and do it over again.
What's the best thing you think somebody can do for someone standing there holding a sign while they're in their car or they see them passing by?
Just show some love, man. That's the biggest thing is everyone wants to judge somebody, you know, but think about your worst day or a relative you have that's fought addiction or somebody you know that's died from it and think about the difference you can make just being kind to somebody. You ain't got to give them money. You ain't got to give them food. Just be kind to somebody, you know, because that shit goes way farther than people know.
That's right.
When you were out there, aside from our encounter, was there ever a different one that really stuck with you?
Yeah, I went to I don't know if y'all ever heard of Raising Cane's Chicken.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I love Raising Cane's. I went there with like $3 and change one day. I'm standing in line, like fixing to ask him if I can get like a tender or something, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I didn't have my money out or nothing. I'm just standing there waiting for the customer in front of me. And there were some ladies at a table. And one of them walked up and handed me $20 and goes, "For your meal." And just
Wow.
went and sat back down, you know. Made my whole day. I got a whole meal, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's
And as I was
awesome.
getting on my bike to like leave there, you know, her friend come over and handed me another $5 and she goes, "Here, just for you," because I had already teared up over the 20, you know. But there were a couple of times, you know, out there like that some people were, you know, like more than out of their way kind.
Yeah, so that's going to sit with you for forever.
Absolutely. I won't ever forget that lady. I can see her face right now.
A small gesture at somewhere that didn't take anyone very much effort made a huge impact.
Yeah.
I remember the last time I did take a shower, somebody invited me into their apartment and said, "Hey, do you need a shower?" And that was
Wow.
huge, you know, because I took somebody off the street for like 5 months and let them live in my house, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to go like 5 years and only have one person invite me inside, you know, to take a shower, like out of kindness, you know, that resonated with me, you know, but
Aside from getting your fix or having food or whatever, what is an item that you needed the most when you were living on the streets?
I will say, like on the average, socks and shoes. Man, that's
Oh.
everybody needs socks and shoes out there. Your feet will rot real quick, you know, because no hygiene, you know.
Yeah.
And people will wear their shoes until they find another pair of shoes that fits them, you know. We can't afford to go buy them, you know, on top of basic survival, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Did you like the socks I gave you?
I did. I actually have
Be honest. If you think they suck, tell me right now.
Well, down here, you know, knee-high socks and black, you know, in South Florida is a little bit much. So
Okay.
somebody in the room actually wanted them because they like, you know, the style.
Okay.
You got to
So-
make ankle socks now.
I do. I
Yeah.
do. It costs a lot of money, but one step at a time.
That's
right.
I will get there.
will.
I'm wearing ankle socks right now because I myself, it's hot.
It's
I don't
hot.
want to
It's
wear
hot.
crew socks.
Yeah.
So I will get there.
Yeah.
I will. But I'm glad that was something that made
I
a
figured
difference.
after watching your channel, you wouldn't mind me passing on your merchandise, you know.
Absolutely not.
People were actually excited about it and wanted me to get them some, so I just went ahead and passed on what I
I
had.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I
Great.
do. I want it to spread out. I want it to get around. So I always give everyone so much.
Yeah, I've had people there that have already asked me for other stuff. So if you got any extra hats with you, I got a couple people that want one.
All right. I might have to just send a batch down there for
Right,
people. I
right.
think that would be the right
I'm going
thing
to
to
get you
do.
some shirts too.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
So good to see you today. I can't believe like the difference. You look like a whole new person, but it's not so much your look. It's your attitude, your
Mentally.
mindset. You really are in a different frame of mind and it seems incredible.
I've been telling people I'm on top of the world because I'm not under it.
That's right.
You know, I really was just like miserable thinking that I was going to die out there like that.
What's next for Taye?
I don't know. Surrender's a whole new animal for me, but it's taking your hands off the wheel. So whatever, I guess he's got planned for me is what's next for me. And I don't know
I
that
like
yet.
that.
Yeah.
Not planning ahead too much. I like that.
I
What do you
figure
see yourself doing for work?
I'm trying to get into glass work. I used to do frameless glass showers. I loved it. I never felt like I was at work, you know, doing high end, like real
Uh-huh.
high end glass showers. I used to run a crew, and it was one of the most enjoyable jobs that I had. I was high the whole time I did it, so it'll be nice to do it sober, you know. But
Well, hopefully you like it when you're sober.
I will, trust
Yeah.
me. It's one of those things that's real gratifying when you get done, you know. Like
Yeah.
I'm talking about like 12-foot frameless glass showers, you know, ordering the glass and then
Yeah.
going back and installing it and everything. Like it really is gratifying when you're done.
I can't help but to wonder because, I mean, you've done so much throughout your lifetime. Your story is something that I have almost never ran in. I mean, I don't think everybody's story is unique. I've never ran
Yeah.
into an exact story like yours.
Yeah.
And going back, what was one of the biggest accomplishments you had in your life prior to this?
Raising my kids. Like up until the point I lost them, I really was super proud. Like, I mean, my kids didn't see a commercial on TV until like I was out of the picture, you know.
How old are your kids?
Now they're 14, 17, and 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old were they when you?
When I last saw them, 8, 11, and 14.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
now you've talked to them again?
Yeah, I haven't talked to my stepson, but I've talked to my 2. And he's with his dad, so, you know, I haven't broached that yet. But
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
wonderful.
yeah, my baby girl, the first time I talked to her, before she let me say anything, she goes, "Dad, I'm not mad at you. I never was. I love you and I'm proud of you." It was dope. I've
You're gonna
talked
make
to
me
her.
cry, dude.
Yeah, I'm about to tear up. But the last time I talked to her, she said, "You know, if Mama can do it, you can do it." You know, like she's evidently got
awesome.
7 years clean now, which
Yeah.
I didn't know until Father's Day. You know,
Yeah.
but super supportive. And then the technician there, when I was talking to my son, he goes, "Dude, that's weird. It sounded like you were talking to yourself," because he's like little mini me, other than the fact he's redheaded.
Oh, I think we got a special guest that wants to come in, right?
Yeah.
You want to go grab him real
Yeah, I'll
quick?
go grab him. I'll get my seat up. Really proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Really proud of you.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see where you take it from here.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go to the beach soon, okay?
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Man, y'all just made my day again.
Who are you and where do you work? What do you do?
So my name is Mike. I'm one of the owners of Palm Beach Recovery Center. I had the privilege of meeting Taye the day he arrived, and it's been really great seeing him. Over the last 28 days, growing physically and emotionally and spiritually. It's really been a privilege. That's an understatement.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
So he came to us at a real rock bottom. Everyone's rock bottom looks different. Taye was as broken and hopeless as, the worst that I've seen. The transformation that I've seen and his gratitude, that's been the biggest thing. Like if I had to sum up in one word what I've seen from him was gratitude. Once he recovered physically, that first week is pretty difficult. The main reason people come to us as their first step on the road to recovery is the medical component, the detox.
Yeah.
Coming off of the substances that Tay was on is difficult, physically and mentally. And it's hard to not want to just give up and go right back out. The medically assisted detox we do here is on the moderate side. We don't like to over medicate people. We don't want to just substitute one drug for another. But Tay made it through, and once he came out the other side of that part of it, and he started diving into the clinical, working on his own issues, his triggers, and all those things, he actually emerged in the community as a support for the others. On, let's say, his 10th day, when the newcomer comes in on their second day, he was there helping, bringing them food, giving them support, saying, hey, I know how you felt 10 days ago. I felt the exact same way. And today I have a whole new, outlook on life.
That's funny that you say that, because now something dawned on me, man, is most people that are in a position like yourself are also in recovery and have been through it themselves and never saw themselves in a position like this. And maybe that could be something that you could do down the road, Tay.
There's
You
all
never
kinds of
know.
opportunities, but I took my hand off the wheel. I'm still waiting for
Okay.
that surrender thing's a new beast. You know what I'm
One
saying?
day at a time.
Just today.
Yeah.
But I will say on y'all's behalf, I've been to other programs. I actually asked for help years ago, and I was kicked out of a rehab for not taking Suboxone. They actually did promote me not taking Suboxone while I was there when I said I didn't want to. And the owners are all hands-on and there all the time and like take you off to the side. I mean, that's something you don't get most places. They really are above and beyond. And I mean that genuinely. Thank you very much.
I'm glad to hear that.
Well, and I've had a question kind of preloaded this whole time, and I think you're a perfect person to be here for it, is why didn't you, there are a lot of services available in the city of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Why didn't you take any of the ones there?
I actually did for a little while. I don't know if you know, but everybody there refers you to one place. I won't name names, but there are people that camp outside of there and mark everybody that goes in there as a target because they want to take all your resources, your food stamps, your whatever. And it's really almost more dangerous going into the shelters than it is staying out of them.
Really?
There's also the underground community. I know y'all know about the tunnels and stuff. It's not no joke. It's life or death out there.
So that was a state-run facility you were talking about?
I don't know that it's state-run, but it's the one that all the state runs wouldn't recommend you to. Like, it's the only place you can get a homeless ID. It's the only place that has any resources to help you actually get an ID or, certain things. But it was definitely very, I won't say the facility was bad, you know what I'm saying? But people know where it is and people take advantage of that, you know what I'm saying? The worst thing out there for homeless people is other homeless people, There are plenty out there that aren't, like myself.
So Palm Beach Recovery Centers is something that is nothing you've ever heard of or seen before in comparison.
I've been telling the whole staff there, like I've been around, like I've lived way more than the average 40-year-old, and you don't find places like that, and not just in recovery, but period. You don't find places like that, man. There's so much love in that place and so many good people there.
What's the best thing about it?
There's not one.
There's too many.
Yeah, there's way too many. I've been telling people it's the most positive thing I've ever experienced, coming from a poor household and a broken family and a rough childhood. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. I've never ate that good for that many days in a row. I've never had room service that many days in a row. I've never been around that many good people at one time in my whole life. Like, it was the most positive experience I've ever gone through. I mean that genuinely.
Sounds like it's something you almost wish you could just stay at for a while because it's so good.
Actually, they teach you in the program you can't hide in recovery forever. So I'm anxious to go to the next step and keep working forward.
Yeah.
But I don't care either way. That's the whole. Submitting to a higher power. Wherever I end up, I'm sure I'll be all right. I just got to focus on today.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Very well put. Yeah, that's very much the premise of our program. Like, we're 12-step based in addition to the clinical services we provide. When someone in recovery gets through those steps, the 12th step is to, pay it forward, go out and sponsor somebody else. That's going to be when, Taye gets his opportunity to give back for, what he was given here. That looks different for everybody. Sometimes it's as simple as just, seeing somebody who's got their head a little hung low and saying, how you doing? And actually wanting to know how someone's doing. Just about all of our staff is in recovery.
Yeah.
That was by design. Just about everybody there has been on that side of the table and knows what someone's going through on those first days and on those 28 days, because he's about to transition to the next level, right? There's a sense of fear that comes with that. He's not
I'm
very
terrified.
comfortable.
I'm terrified. I won't lie.
But that's okay.
But
right?
yeah, healthy, like.
As long as you give it up to your higher power and know that, like you said, everything is going to be all right.
Yeah.
If you do the right thing and you stick to the program and you do what you got to do, everything will be okay. And you'll have that opportunity to go out and help somebody else.
And there's also a huge community here. Like, it's the recovery capital of the world, I believe, or something like that.
They do say that.
But the community that you meet there at that specific facility, like, even the owners, like, they all text everybody that comes out of there on the daily. If you start falling off, that text turns into a phone call. Hey, are you all right? What's going on? They drive, 4 hours sometimes? I mean, they drive all over the place to pick people up, random places, to bring them back, if they're falling off. They actually are, like, committed to people, like, genuinely, like, caring. And that alone, that support group, of good people around you, the people that are in recovery, that follows you outside of there. It doesn't stop, when you leave, and that's dope,
You guys do all these scholarships, and you're not making money on scholarships, right?
No.
Why do you keep doing them?
There's a lot of reasons. Sometimes with treatment, it's people have to have the means, and when you have the means and you have the safety net that, like, health insurance provides, oftentimes people go through the system over and over again because they know they have that safety net there. And then unfortunately what happens is they no longer have insurance, but now that sense of, this is reality, I don't have a choice, I'm going to die if I don't do it this time, they need a scholarship. They're ready. Right?
Yeah.
Guys like Taye, men and women like Taye, who get to that point, those are the ones that oftentimes we see the highest success in. We've all experienced someone reaching out and helping us. And in the programs that we all work in AA, it's about giving back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's finding that balance in the universe. And it's just
the last step
part
is
of life.
giving away what was so freely given to you.
That's it.
They actually practice what they preach.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's awesome. I'm at a loss for words because of what it can really accomplish for people and the opportunities that are given. You don't get that everywhere. It's difficult to find. So to have a place that does it is it's amazing, and it makes a big impact, a big difference. I mean, we see it right here. He's living proof.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. You have any questions for me, Taye?
No, not right now.
None?
No, none.
You watch my videos hanging out? And just,
Yeah, I watched your trip across the country,
Probably eat here pretty soon and go hit the beach, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I was born ready.
All right. Well, hey, this room is not my normal place, so it's a little bit tight here.
All right.
And we probably won't be able to catch it on camera, so you can just answer the final question I ask everybody.
Oh, it's a hug all the way.
Oh, he already knows. He already knows. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for everything that you do here at Palm Beach Recovery Centers. It's amazing.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Yeah, no, keep it up. Keep it up. It's great stuff. And now it's time for hugs.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
So proud of you. Thank you. Let me come over there. You don't have to move, man. Oh, man, I'm so glad I met you. So glad that you're where you're at today. Thank you. It's beautiful.
God put us all here for a reason.
Proud of you, man.